Hey, it's Michelle coming to you with some kitchen inspiration. I've been doing a lot of cooking. Sorry about that, guys. But I was on vacation in multiple locations for about a month. And we've been home and we've been kind of catch as you can, eating a bunch of sauteed fish and stuff like that. Just really easy things. So I thought tonight I would do something a little bit different. And I was looking up some recipes for chicken just to get out of this rut. And I found this thing called Marry Me Chicken online. It's littlesunnykitchen.com. Anyway, so I thought I would try it. So I thought I would share that with you guys. I'm serving it with some rice and some veggies. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I got my veggies, my rice going here, and I've got my 12-inch stainless nonstick skillet with a really nice finish. I love this thing. It's non-stick, but you can see how you can see the silver. And that's important for a recipe like this where we're making a gravy because we want the chicken to stick to the pan and then we'll be able to deglaze it. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is trim my chicken up. It was in the freezer. I just pulled it out earlier. And whoever put it in the freezer this time was in a hurry and they didn't trim it first because I usually like to trim it before it goes in the freezer. But honestly, the easiest time to trim it is when it's partially frozen, kind of like this. When it's cold, and then it's real easy to get all the fat off of it. I like to take out all the fat and the tendons. So I got a little tendon right there because it does make it taste so much better. It's amazing the difference in the chicken. And that's the difference between a regular, like, cheap family style restaurant, which we all eat at because we all know that's good, versus a really good restaurant is how they prep the chicken before they feed it to you. And I know sometimes you think, oh my gosh, how do they make chicken taste so good? One of the ways that they really make it taste good is this little bit of extra prep work that goes into it. It really makes a difference in your flavor. So if you have the time, I'd recommend pull off anything white on the chicken, including, see this piece right here, this little tendon. I always take that off because any of those kinds of things are going to make your chicken chewy. Okay, so if you want really good chicken, you're going to take all that stuff off. Okay, second step in making really good chicken is to pound it. So we're going to do that. I don't have okay, so I'm going to move that over. When I pound chicken, I like to use a double layer of plastic wrap over it. You don't have to do that step, but the reason I do it is it makes much less mess in my kitchen. I don't have to wind up cleaning the walls and everything. All right, so this is our meat tenderizer. It's on the flat side, but I want it on the pokey side because I want it to beat up any tendons that I missed, okay? We don't want to pound the heck out of this chicken. We have two goals. See how it's really skinny on this side and really fat on that side? We want it to all be the same size, the same depth, so that when you cook it, it all cooks at the same rate, because that really makes a difference so you don't have overcooked chicken in one spot and, barely cooked chicken in another spot. The other thing is, like I said, those teeth on here are gonna break those tendons up a little bit more, okay? So I usually like my chicken about a 1/2 inch. Okay, so don't pound it so hard that it becomes see-through because that's not good either. All right, so you want to kind of do it in between. This is one of those tools that I use in my kitchen all the time. This is my second one because I tell you what, the first one, we put it in the dishwasher and it just, after about 10 years, it kind of just, it looked crappy. And I decided that I would get a new one and hand wash it. So I generally hand wash this. So I'm going to wash my hands now, 1 second. But it comes apart like you saw. Just use a little scrub brush and some hot water and it'll be great every time. Okay, so the next step in this chicken, so I'm getting my tongs. We're gonna get some butter and some olive oil into the 12-inch skillet. So this says 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter. I need a butter knife. I'm gonna put these in the pan and I'm gonna start heating it up. Let's see, 1, 2. All right, 2 tablespoons in my pan. Let me turn my pan on. All right. Next thing we're going to do is make these the right size. So what I learned with my family of 6 is whatever piece you give them at the beginning, a lot of times that's the only piece they're going to eat. So we want to give them what we want them to eat, which is what? A deck of cards, right? And that's what they always say. A deck of cards is the size of the meat. They are always welcome to eat more, but most people are satisfied with a size of meat piece, a deck of cards. So rather than make a giant piece, take these 2 chicken breasts and turn them into 6 pieces. Okay, got it. All right, so next step is I'm going to dredge these in flour. I have out my coating trays. These come in a set of 3. So I have 3 of them stacked here. And they overlap on top of each other, so you can do egg, flour, and breadcrumbs. Okay, in this recipe, we're only going to use one of these trays. Put the other ones away so they don't get dirty. Okay, so we're just dredging in flour. We're not breadcrumbing or anything like that this time. Actually, I might keep it. Now I need this. I'm talking to myself over here by my drawer, sorry. All right, so I got my skillet, the butter. Oops, I'm sorry that won't stay up there. The butter and olive oil are melting in here. And we're gonna start dredging the flour and adding the chicken to the pan. The coating trays come with these cute little tongs, okay? So that you don't have to put your hands in the chicken. Since I just washed my hands, I'm happy to not have to put them back in the chicken. All right. So I just wanna give these a little flour. Now, of course, if you're gluten-free, you can just use some gluten-free flour. I've done that lots of times. The Pillsbury one works really good and it's not super expensive. You can even buy it at Walmart. Of course, I'm sure if you're gluten-free, you have your favorite kind. All right. Get these in the pan. And then we're gonna make the sauce. And the sauce is where the joke on this recipe is people eat it and they immediately say, oh my gosh, you have to marry me because it's so good. So I haven't made this before, but it sounded good when I was looking at it because it's sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, Parmesan cheese, some heavy cream. I mean, it's all good ingredients. Of course it's gonna taste good. All right. All right, my chicken's in the pan. Let's get all this dirty stuff out of the way and go back to our recipe. Okay, so I need a new cutting board because got my other one all full of raw chicken. Gonna use the smaller size this time. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is press some garlic. So it says it needs 3 cloves of garlic. Pull the little Barbie hairbrush cleaning tool off your garlic press. This is a head of garlic, not a clove, okay? Just in case you're not familiar with fresh garlic. That's a really important distinction. If you put 3 heads of garlic in, you guys are probably going out to dinner, okay? We all made that mistake when we first started cooking, but it's nice to avoid it now. You do not have to peel your garlic. I like to cut mine in half. I didn't used to do that, but as I got older, I was like, wow, it's really much easier to peel if you, press if you cut it in half first. Okay, so we're gonna press the garlic right here. Now the recipe said cook the chicken 4 or 5 minutes on each side till it's brown and done in the middle, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. I know it's going to cook in the sauce some more at the end too. So it doesn't have to be completely done in the middle. See, this little tool that comes with the garlic press is multi-purpose. So you notice my garlic comes right out the front here, and this will scrape it off. Then you open it and you pull out the peels with that piece too. Get them out of your way. And then at the end, you use this, the hairbrush side. Right now I'm using the handle side. The side that looks like a hairbrush to clean out your garlic press, okay? All right, got my garlic all ready to go there. Garlic press, oh my gosh. One of the first things I ever got from Pampered Chef. Had it for so many years now, 25 years. And it is one of the best things. I still have a very distinct memory of 22 years ago. My mother calling me at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning because I had mailed her the garlic press for Mother's Day. calls me 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. She says, I'm making meatballs, which anybody who's Italian knows you always start your sauce and stuff. So you put that on there and it pokes all the holes out for you. This is another tool that I hand washed. So she was making her gravy, her Sunday gravy. And she had to make her meatballs, and it was the first time she tried the garlic press, and she was so impressed she couldn't believe it. She had told me she didn't need one, but I knew she needed one, so I mailed it to her because she used to dice the garlic by hand. She was so excited about it, so that was a good memory of her. All right, so we're just going to flip our chicken. It already smells good in here, and it's basically just butter and chicken. It smells delicious in here already. Obviously, my burner is not even because it's browning more on one side than the other. It's probably my oven is a little off center. All right, I'm gonna just rinse my spatula since it just did some good. Okay. All right, so the next thing I gotta do is I gotta get out my sun-dried tomatoes. You need 1/3 of a cup. Now, this recipe wasn't specific about what type of sun-dried tomatoes, and the kind I have is the kind in oil. So when I use these, I always drain them, and then I kind of dry them off, okay? If you have the kind that come in a bag, you don't have to do that step. But we want to get some of this oil off of these, okay? And some recipes are specific about which type to use, but this one was not. All right. That was about 1/3 of a cup, hopefully, because that's what I have. So we're going to use what we have, right? Oh, my hands are gross. 1 second. Got oil all over them. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is grab my food chopper. The more you heat it, the better it likes it, right? I'm going to beat up these sun-dried tomatoes a little so they're nice small pieces, okay? The harder you hit this, the better it likes it. So really go ahead and beat it up. Especially since it might be a little short on sun-dried tomatoes, this way the flavor is going to get through the whole thing. I need to add those to my grocery list. It's one of those things, always in my house, but now I'm out of them. All right, so these 2 pieces go in the dishwasher top rack. The other piece gets hand washed. All right, next step says take the chicken out of the pan. All right. I'm going to take the chicken out of the pan over here. Yep, looks good. I'll turn this heat way down. The next step is to saute some garlic. And I do not want my garlic to get blackened. If you blacken your garlic, you got to start over. That's what I learned. It will ruin the flavor of your food. So if you overcook your garlic, just go ahead and give yourself permission to start over. All right, we're going to put the garlic in here. And we're just going to saute it for a minute or so because, you know, this is really hot already. Then I have to add the chicken stock. How much chicken stock goes in here? Probably should have pre-measured this, but I didn't. 1 cup of chicken stock. All right. Well, I did overcook my garlic slightly there while I was pouring my chicken stock, but it's not black, so it's okay. It is brown now. All right, now we're going to do the step called deglazing your pan, and this is where this pan shines because some of those brown things in there are not garlic. They're pieces of chicken, okay? So the stainless coming through the non-stick coating on this makes the chicken stick to the pan. And then when you deglaze it with your stock or your wine or your water, whatever it tells you to use in your recipe, deglaze basically just means scrape the bottom. It pulls all those chicken bits up into the gravy and they make them taste really, really good. Okay, so we put that in. And now I'm going to add my heavy cream and my Parmesan cheese. Where's my heavy cream? Heavy cream. Oops, I can't get it open. Doesn't want to open, it's being difficult. All right, phew. So we're going to put in a cup of heavy cream. This is not a low calorie recipe. Hopefully it'll be a delicious one though. A cup of heavy cream in there. And It says Parmesan cheese, but if you ever watch me cook, you know that I always use grated Romano, Pecorino Romano, unless I'm doing Penny alla vodka. Because Penny alla vodka does not like Romano, it likes Parmesan. So most of the time I just use, but I prefer the taste of Romano. It's a stronger flavor. Okay, this is a half a cup. I'm gonna put a half a cup in there. And then, I'm gonna turn this back up a little now. And then I'm going to, oh my gosh, this smells so good already. So I'm going to add my chili flakes, my thyme, and my oregano. Okay, so chili flakes meaning crushed red pepper, okay? It says a teaspoon. That's a lot for my taste, so I'm going to do less than a teaspoon. I'm going to do probably like a quarter of a teaspoon. I do like crushed red pepper, but I don't want it to be overly spicy. Quarter of a teaspoon of oregano. I always crush my oregano like this when I put it in. It makes a big difference in the taste. And a quarter of a teaspoon of thyme, and then I have to put in some black pepper. Ground thyme, and then I'm gonna get my black pepper. All right, quarter of a teaspoon of black pepper. This says add salt, but it also said use unsalted butter, and I used salted butter, so I'm not putting in salt. Okay, so we got our gravy. It's working here. We're melting our cheese into it. And the next step is add the sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, so I'm gonna throw those in. I swear, skillet cooking is my jam. I like to do a lot of different kinds of cooking, but if you were to say to me, what kind of cooking do you do most? It's mostly skillet cooking. And if you look on my stove here, I have 2 skillets out here. I have the 5-quart, 11-inch diameter Brilliance cookware nonstick skillet working on my zucchini, and then I have my 12-inch stainless nonstick working on my chicken. Many times when you come in my kitchen, you're going to see these 2 workhorses on my stove, and most of the time they're on the stove together. They get used just about every night. We do a lot of sauteing vegetables, but we make all kinds of stuff in them. I feel like these are a major power tool in my kitchen, meaning that they get used all the time versus the power tools in your garage. They get used a couple times a year. These get used every day in my kitchen. They are so worth the money. They will make your food taste better. This is definitely a time and money savings. And the little skillet, the 8-inch skillet for the nonstick stainless is on sale this month. And the Brilliance smaller skillets, the omelet size ones, the 8-inch and the 10-inch are on sale also. So you want to think about if you're interested in any of those smaller skillets, now's the time to get them. If you want these big skillets, just let me know, because you can always get them half price when you have your own party. And it's a very good way to do it. You will get your money's worth out of them, definitely. We use them to death. Even with only 2 or 3 people that we're cooking for now versus 6, which is what I was always cooking for. I used them all the time when I was cooking for 6 people, but now I still use them constantly, even cooking for 2 or 3. All right, so put that back in, and then the last thing you're gonna do with this, I'm gonna let it cook for a little bit. It is, gonna just thicken up this sauce because I made rice to go with it. Matter of fact, my rice is done. So I'm just going to let this kind of sit in here, soak up the flavor of the sauce. And the last thing that goes in it is some fresh basil. So I'm going to cut up some fresh basil to garnish it with. And fresh basil is always good. So I'm glad you joined me. Thank you. If you liked this video, feel free to share it with your friends. Have a great evening.